I'm here with Henare O'Keefe, who is the Hastings Ambassador. Kia ora, Henare, and thanks for joining me.
Hey, Morena, good man. Pleasure.
Now, Henare, you were a Hastings District Councillor for many years, and now you are, well, you had that role as well, but now you're a full-time Hastings Ambassador. What is the Hastings Ambassador, and what role do you fulfill?
Well, I'm glad you asked. You know, I always jokingly say it's like being the mayor without the checkbook, but it's basically an ambassador, somebody that brings people together, that promotes the goodness and richness and vibrancy of the city. I do lots of wonderful things like MC various functions for the mayor. Help to open up buildings, launch buildings, bless buildings, all that. But basically, it's for me personally, it's like being a patriarch, really, like being a patriarch to the people of Heretaunga, of Hastings. That's how I personally see it. To spread goodwill and love and compassion, and to be a friend, to be a companion, without the politics. And it's a great gig. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's an absolute privilege. Who'd ever thought this little Māori boy from the back blocks of the dirt floors and 2-bedroom tin shacks of Ruatoria, when you come into this region in 1971 with his mum, dad, and brothers and sisters, that he would one day be the ambassador for Hastings. Who would have thought?
Because you talk about politics and that, because obviously being a councillor, you were involved in politics and that. So are you enjoying the fact that you aren't involved in the sort of hurly-burly of council affairs and can just focus on this role as an ambassador?
Yeah, there's two answers to that question. Number one, I actually enjoyed the hurly-burly of politics. For me, it came down to, you retain the integrity of people. You don't make it personal, but you just focus on the wider picture and do it for the people, by the people, of the people. And I loved being at that decision-making table to help make things happen. In terms of being away from politics, I don't miss the long, drawn-out meetings. I don't miss that. I have to be truthful about that. I do miss the companionship, but for me, when you walked into that chamber, it was an absolute privilege. It wasn't a right; it was a privilege, and I never ever lost sight of that it was. We were servants of the people. I was a servant of the people. I don't know if that answered your question, but I couldn't think of anything else to say.
No, that's fine. Now, part of your role, and you're very prolific with videos on social media, and you seem to video just about everyone you come across. Why do you do this?
Totally. Well, I'll have to pay tribute to my grandchildren, my mokopuna, for that. They dragged me into the world of social media, something I feared and was just an absolute novice. I'm still a novice in many ways, but I'm so glad they did that. It's opened up the world to me. I'm now conversing with friends I haven't seen for years who live in Dubai and all around the world. And now I'm right up to play with what's happening in their lives. Why I do what I do? There's a whole host of heroes and heroines out there. You will never read about them. They'll never make the radio. They'll never make television, but they are there. And I've discovered and have always known they are the glue. They are the backbone of communities, of households, of this country. And I videoed them, and the stories that are coming at me at 100 miles an hour. Like my most recent interview is a couple of young men where I am now at Ronald McDonald House. They're like the fathers of the house, and to listen to their stories and their passion. So I want to expose that. I want to expose that to the world.
Now, you mentioned Ronald McDonald House, and we're doing this interview with you in Auckland, and I'm here in Hawke's Bay. Tell us why you in Auckland and why you at Ronald McDonald House.
I'm here at a bedside vigil with my granddaughter, my beautiful, delicious granddaughter. She had, it's now out in the public arena. She had a tumor removed, a tumor on the brain. And so I'm here. It's my rotation. It's my turn as a grandfather to be here and support as she undergoes radiation treatment, etc., etc. And we're in the same room. We're spending 24/7 together. So I'm here basically as support for her. But I can tell you now, she's often turned the tables on me. When the tears cascade down my cheeks, she turns the tables and she becomes a supporter. So it's been an absolute privilege being here at Ronald McDonald House. These people are just, they're outstanding. I'm talking about the surgeons, the cleaners, each and every one of them. We've befriended them, and we've drawn them in close into our world and them into and us into their world. It's possibly one of the most satisfying things I've ever done in my whole entire life.
Now, your granddaughter Awarangi, it's a lot for her to be going through at such a young age, and I'm sure everyone watching this will wish her the best and that. But you've had quite a bit of support from the community. There was a Give a Little page that was set up for your family. What do you have to say for all those people in Hawke's Bay and around the country who have supported you and Awarangi?
Oh, look, it's been simply amazing. And I'm talking about from Kaitaia to the Bluff. And locally, our community of Flaxmere. I have to pay tribute to Councillor Damon Harvey, who started the Give a Little page at the behest of his fellow councillors and the mayor. And that started the ball rolling. And next minute, we've got the support coming from the four corners of the Mutu. And Flaxmere, they have just gone beyond the call of duty. Our beloved, fabulous Flaxmere. They had a benefit concert. It sold out. They had a boxathon, which went 24/7 non-stop. And the schools have come to the party. Peterhead School, where Awarangi went to. And everyone just come on board with no coercion at all. And it just... I'm getting emotional now and goosebumps just talking about it. I've always said that it's more difficult to get out of the heart of Flaxmere than it is to get in. But once you're in there, what a glorious place to be.
Because it's been a tough time for your family, Arangi's family and your family. And but what gives you strength as a family to keep going?
Oh, that's a very good question. Well, one another, for example, even at our weakest, we're at our strongest. I mean, Arangi's mum and, being a mother, sometimes there are some pains and some circumstances you are just way out of your control. So in most instances, we've only had one another. But the overarching thing for all of that is our faith, my faith in Almighty God. That's not an exaggeration or an overstatement. I have to say, and bring up my evangelical genre here, I know there's a God. I know he's real. I felt his presence even even when I was on the verge of giving up. But I do know, to any listeners out there, I do know there is a God. A lot of it I cannot explain. I have no explanation for it, but I just know. I know that if I flick the switch off in this room, that light would go off. But I'd put more faith in that there's a God. So it's my faith that has kept me going, and indeed my family.
Now, you've through this experience, you've come into a system that I'm sure you obviously had heard of, but hadn't really seen how it works with Starship Hospital and with the Ronald McDonald House and that. Tell us about the process and the support that is provided for families of cancer patients.
Well, one of the reasons that I put this out on social media, I interviewed the oncologist yesterday, the nurses, etc. The reason I've done that is to expose the work that they do here and put it in the public arena. It may or may not be unknown, but here at Ronald McDonald House and Grafton Mews, they are basically a luxurious establishment that's there for the families. Their every need is seen to, is taken care of. Yeah, the showers, the food, the opulence of the buildings. It's just you walk in there and you feel like you're valued. Yeah. You feel like you appreciate it even in your darkest moments. And that's what it's about. And then the surgeons, well, they become personal friends. The intellect, the gentleness and the humility, these men with these great big claws. And I said to one of them the other day, how on earth can a man with hands as big as yours go into these tiny spaces and manipulate and heal and restore? And you're under pressure. It's a matter of life and death. And they love what they do. But the system here for the families and the children, it's outstanding. It's second to none. And if anybody out there has the inclination to do something or support it in any way, please, it is an investment. It is an investment in the future of this country. Everything from the sleeping quarters to the companionship. It's it's simply been amazing.
Because the New Zealand health system gets bagged quite a bit. Apart from Ronald McDonald House and that, where have you found the system up in Auckland and also down here in Hawke's Bay?
Well, there are parts of it, I have to be honest, it's about who you know.
Yeah.
It's about who you know. It's about your networks, your relationships, which allow you to triage your way through the system. In saying that, I know that they're overworked. They really are. Some of them are doing double shifts. They're short. We had two beautiful nurses, and Aonangi just took to them like she just loved them. They loved her, and that when we went back the second time for the second lot of treatment, they'd gone to Australia. Bigger money, less hours, less taxing. And some are even going over there on short-term contracts. And these are young, vibrant, articulate young nurses, both male and female. So somehow, some way, we've got to try and make level the playing field on their behalf. And how I do that is telling them how wonderful they are and how we appreciate them.
And so now, what is next for you and your family? Where does this process go? Just to give us a bit of an outline.
Well, there's more treatment to come, Andrew. We're going through the radiation process now. There are 30 of treatments. They're half hour a day for 5 days a week. And then following that, we need to discuss all of this again with the clinicians, etc. She'll come home for a wee while, and then it's back here again for more chemo, to start the chemo process.
And what can the community do for you and your family, and also for the system? You mentioned that people should support as well. What can people do?
Well, just in terms of our family, just continue being our friends. Just continue being there. Sometimes there's not a hell of a lot you can say or do, but just just being there. I've often said, look, I can't do much for you, but I got these two things here. Come here, give me a hug.
Yeah.
Just continue doing what you're doing here. And in terms of the system, try and be a little bit more patient and tolerant. If you're not being seen to immediately, like you go into the emergency department, sometimes you're sitting there for 6, 7, 8 hours. That's because they're short-staffed.
Yeah.
They're off their feet. But it'd be rather nice if you're sitting there, if someone would come out, maybe with a cup of tea, some scones, or just say, look, we're sorry to keep you waiting. This is why. Often you don't get an explanation. You just sit there and just wait.
Yeah. Well, Himala Keith, it's been great chatting to you, and all the best for you and your family and your granddaughter Aorangi, and we wish you all the best in her recovery.
Thank you, brother. And if I can just say this in conclusion, it's all about love. It's all about love and compassion, and seeing the good in one another. That's our only hope. If we don't do that, we're doomed. That other stuff, that's just stuff. That's just stuff. Your car can't hug you. Your bank manager can't. It's a love. When you're on, God forbid, you're on your deathbed, you're not going to ask for your bank manager. You're not going to say, can I count all my money one more time? Can I just touch my Lexus? No, you're going to ask for your mum, your dad, your brothers and sisters, and you're going to look skyward. I'll tell you now. So please, people, just love one another.
Well, thank you for your time. All the best.
Thank you, brother.
You.